Good afternoon. My name is Johannes Franken. I work for HBS. I'm the director of digital, and we're going to speak about AI again. Not that it hasn't been mentioned today. For me, it's the interesting aspect is when it's coming about, is it more expensive? Can I save money, or can I do more with less, as we heard this morning? And we are trying to get an insight from this gentleman. I think most of you are well known to the audience. For those that are not well known, do you want to quickly introduce yourself, who you are, and who you're working for?
My name is Olivier Barnich. I work for EVS. I work in the R&D department, and I'm in charge of the innovation and the software architecture at the company level.
Thank you. Benjamin?
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Stoll. I'm the Director Digital and Innovation at the International Ski and Snowboard Federation.
Hello, my name is Nima Malekmanesh. I'm Director of Business Development at Evertz.
Hi, I'm Ian Fletcher. I'm CTO of Grass Valley.
Thank you. Wonderful. We hear there are a lot of buzzwords when it's coming to AI, and maybe I'm too much, maybe it's my technical background, maybe it's because German, as most of you heard probably by now, but I'm really keen on understanding what your definition is. Is it pattern recognition? Where are we? Is it ML? Is it DL? What are we really talking about? Can you give us your take on that, Olivier?
So you have to, pattern recognition, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are all different things. So pattern recognition is a task actually that you achieve through artificial intelligence. So you can think of it as being able to extract information from any signal, audio, video, text, by spotting instances of things you are looking for. For example, being able to recognize keywords in a text, be able to detect persons in a video stream. Machine learning is something that has been invented in the 80s, in the 60s, sorry. That is a technique that allows a computer to learn a task from data, to learn an algorithm from data, and it falls under the wide umbrella of artificial intelligence. And deep learning, which is really the technique that I believe we are all using at the moment, is a special kind of machine learning that deals with a lot of artificial neural networks and neural units that are stacked into different layers. And that's been, I would say, that became very popular around 10 years ago.
And how does that tie into ChatGPT, Nima?
For ChatGPT specifically?
As the topic people are talking about.
I wouldn't tie it specifically to ChatGPT. I would say for AI, for us, is anything that can amplify someone's workflow. So really that's the way we're looking at it, is take something I'm doing and amplify it through whatever we're calling AI. The problem with AI is, I would categorize it as deep problem solving. But our marketing teams have done a very good job to categorize multiple things at AI. I've realized I've been doing AI for 8 years, 10 years. For us, what we try to do is use whatever we're calling AI, machine learning, deep learning, pattern recognition, to amplify workflow and creative content. So really, if it's something that a director can do, an editor can do, have them do more of that very easily through automation, through machine learning, through AI. So that's really what we focus in on, is trying to amplify how much content you can create.
Ian, anything to add to the definitions?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything. I mean, I think we do throw the term AI around because it's easy, but it's lazy. And I think the fact that we look at something like ChatGPT, which is a very powerful large language model, and imply that it's got intelligence, it tells us more about us than I think about ChatGPT. But that doesn't mean it's not extremely useful and can't be used along with all these other techniques we've talked about. And so, but they're just tools. And I think there's a lot of hype and a lot of people worried about, what effect it's going to have on the industry. But you just have to see them as tools to drive efficiency, as you say, to increase the creative process, to offer up new options to the production teams. And we just embrace them. And we're already using at least 3 or 4 of the types of thing that we put under the general umbrella of AI.
Thank you. So it starts to play more and more of an important role in content creation. And Benjamin, from a perspective of a federation, How are you using it today? The most interesting point is, are you saving money? Are you able to do more with less? Or is that more something that came out of the marketing departments?
That's probably the magic question, and I think it's an ever-going process, because there are various forms of application of the technology, and then the costs and the knowledge in terms of the efficient application of the technology is also ever evolving. So we are looking into this quite heavily in terms of how can we create content insights on the live, because when you look into snow sports, we have various disciplines where you have people with helmets and goggles, and often the decisive moments is not visible. So using pattern recognition, using deep learning in order to better capture understandable insights and translating this into fan value is something, of course, that's really, really interesting to us. But then even outside of the broadcast and the live, to look into storytelling is also something which is really, really interesting. In terms of, are we saving money with this? We're definitely trying to reach better insights in a faster way. At the end of the day, this is about creating a better product and a better experience at applicable costs, because often the technology is put first, but we also need to look into the commercial viability of all of that. But if we don't experiment, we will never find out, and we will be never on the forefront of innovating the fan experience.
That's a very polite way of saying we're spending more money, right? All right. So from a broadcast toolset side, you probably have a success story of somebody who saved money with an EVS tool and who could create more output through the use of artificial intelligence, right?
Well, saving money, I'm not sure, actually.
All right.
But I'm maybe not the best person to be aware of everything that our customers do. I have colleagues in the room that could answer that question. But is it really about saving money at the moment, or is it about being able to create better content? Because, of course, you can look at artificial intelligence as a way to automate the tools that you have already, but you can also look at it as a way to create new tools. And personally, I believe that due to the profound artistic nature of the work that we do in this industry, it is better to think about artificial intelligence as a way to create better content, or content that you wouldn't have been able to create without artificial intelligence. So, for example, you can use tools to turn any camera into a high-speed camera, or to remove motion blur, or to put a nice shallow depth of field effect to any shot. And these things, at these camera positions, you wouldn't have been able to do them before. And maybe, over time, people will use these technology, hopefully, more and more, and the trust that they put in these technologies will grow, and at some point, they will look at these technologies as a way also to save money, but I don't think we are there at the moment. But I think that each time we are managing to create beautiful images, I think we are doing a good job.
So it's more a case of doing more with more, right?
Exactly, or more with the same amount of money, but the money that you would have put in a high-speed camera, you can put it somewhere else.
Good. Nima, from the Evertz side.
Yeah, I'd like to say about the same thing. There's always a fear of AI, new tools, taking away jobs or something like that. We don't find our customers are doing that. What they're doing is getting more, creating more content. So in the last few years, there's been a divergence of content consumption between the different generations. Obviously, we've talked about linear is still there, it's diminishing. Then you have short form type of events where I want to watch something in 30 minutes. And then you have very short form that our children are watching, which is 30 seconds, 45-second bits. And this is all coming from a demand for personalized content. Really what we're going to get to, and we always talk about storytelling, what do I pick as a producer as a story I want to tell? Is whatever the majority of people want to see. But as I become more personalized in that, you're allowing me to tailor a story per person. So what our AI has done right now with our kind of machine learning is using metadata and stats to automatically create multiple stories without having a person do that automatically. So as you're pulling in stats for a producer, instead of telling my editor saying, these are the 4 stories I want you to focus in on, have every single possible story available, automatically created. That's something we're doing right now and we can do. And when you have that, then you create access to that for your end consumers. So as somebody who has a sports team, a fantasy or betting, I just want to see the highlights of the people I'm betting on or the stories that are important to me, my favorite player, my favorite teams. So instead of having content that's created by several people for the masses, now what you're allowing is several people to create millions of different storylines for individual people.
Ian, I've heard Benedict Evans saying that LLMs and AI in a wider sense these days is basically an infinite supply of interns.
Yeah.
From a Grass Valley perspective, would you say that your tools are beyond intern skills, or do you still need to have somebody looking over what that group of young people created?
Well, again, we work at a lot of levels. I mean, obviously, Grass Valley is known for the tier 1 things, the big sports events, and that's an area where, to your point, the old days you'd be making 1 output. Now, you're making 4 or 5 or 6 outputs of that content, targeting different platforms, different resolutions, different formats. So, taking a 9:16 out of a 16:9 and using AI to track and position that, so you don't have to have somebody chasing what's in the center of the frame. In terms of saving money, I tend to agree with everybody else. It's all about more with less. But one of the areas where I think some customers would say they are saving money is in metadata annotation, where you've got things like large language models and visual recognition, looking at content and tagging it and annotating all this kind of rich metadata that's going into the archive, because that would normally need lots of people to do that. In terms of production values, I think the other thing about this technology is just because something's possible doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea to do it. I mean, sure, we could have an AI camera that's replacing all the cameramen in a sports event, but to what end? And perhaps very low level if it enables you to bring some sport to market that wouldn't be practical and doing it any other way. But in reality, those people, they're not just chasing the ball. They've all got creative jobs. If you're doing soccer and there's a foul, each cameraman or woman knows what to do and where to go and what to offer up the director. They're an extra brain, an extra pair of eyes at the venue, especially with remote production. They may be the only eyes that the director's got in the arena, presenting up possible stories. And so, I just don't see the value to replace that one salary with an AI that might subtly get confused between the ball and the referee's bald head and start chasing the wrong thing around, which has happened.
When would that happen? Thank you. Benjamin, I know that you're very much looking into content customization and you're offering that to the wider social group of content creators. What role is AI playing in that field today, or is AI playing a role in that area already?
It's playing a large role. We're experimenting, and then I think it's not only about the value of AI in a vacuum. It's combining it with different mechanisms. To give you an example, when we look into the live stream of Snowsports competition, we're using automation right now to cut individual athlete clips and providing this to the national associations and the athletes. That's what we've tried recently at the World Cup in Cardrona, New Zealand, because we also need to acknowledge that as a world governing body, we are not exactly a love brand. And we have fantastic athletes that all have their communities on social media. So in a world where awareness is the strongest currency, it makes a lot of sense to use automation and AI in order to provide them with the best possible assets. So that's something we're experimenting with. And then also pattern detection on its own, in my view, is quite a creative discipline, where we constantly are coming up with hypotheses of what are we actually looking for, what are the patterns, and how can we use those patterns to tell better stories towards whom. And then this is basically also a question of process design for TV. When you look into a ski alpine race, after Michaela Schifrin has crossed the finish line, then you have the usual replays, where this is actually an opportunity to give better insights, create better emotions. And what will be the future here, we don't know, but it's really interesting to further experiment how you can use the existing footage with pattern detection, how you can plug in archive as well, in order to uncover new, exciting and surprising insights and storylines for the fans.
For me, and I'm wearing two hats here, in my day job, we found that our customers struggle to balance between the automated content creation, and highlights is a good example, to where to allocate resources on individual training, on training people, and especially training athletes. And how can you leverage the knowledge of your athletes, the knowledge and their reach, to strengthen your brand and to make your sport more popular. And as a shameless plug for those who haven't read it this morning, I'm very proud that we finally launched a new product or a new service, basically, as instead of HBS, we have Scroller as a brand where we are offering those services through, and I'm very excited that we can bring those worlds together of creating content, of working with content creators and training athletes, up to the world of using technology to create more for less. And Alessandro, I will continue looking at you because I really like that quote. So thank you very much for those insights. For me, the exciting question, and I don't know where Heather is, but and you spend a lot of time with technology, are we closer to scary Skynet, or is it still the stochastic parrot that other people are talking about? And I start with you, Olivier.
Okay, right. I would say that at the moment, we are still closer to a stochastic parrot. But for me, what has changed during the last 18 months is that looking at what you can do now with large language models such as ChatGPT and foundation computer vision models in general, I would say that it's hard to argue that anything won't be possible someday. So beware of what's coming. That's my take on that.
Okay, that could be beware of Skynet, right? So, Benny?
What this did Adidas once say, impossible is nothing. I think there's a benefit. There's a strong benefit there. Is it overhyped? In my view, to a certain extent, yes. And there is, of course, the economics that, especially as a bundle of niche sports, we always need to look into. But we need to be open towards the future. But at the core, I personally want to believe that humans connect with humans, and human storytelling will be hopefully never substituted by machine completely.
Beautiful.
Hopefully.
Nima.
I think we're very far from the Skynet, and I'll give you some examples of just why I think that. I think part of what makes, let's say you take one of your production staff, somebody who's good at what they do. Really, the reason they're good at what they do is they're predictive. You can predict what they're going to do. You give them a task, and they're going to do it well. Now, some of the large language models, ChatGPT, are very good at doing certain things, and they're going to be horrible at doing certain things, and they're also very unpredictable. Like right now, I know some of you probably read this, ask ChatGPT how many R's are in strawberry. It's going to mess it up. It's a very basic question that a toddler can answer. So if I give a production staff some sort of expectation, something to do, they're going to basically meet a threshold for what they're going to do. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a complete new project. With some of the language models and AI out there right now, you still need a human eye to look at what they've done, to check the work, because there's so much variability. There are so many things that can go wrong, and there's no check and balance for it. So I think we're still very primitive in what we have. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to exponentially go up in the next 10, 20 years, whatever that time frame is, but I still think we're relatively far from that.
And your thought is humanity is still safe?
Absolutely, as long as you know where the plug is. But what I would say, though, is the talk of big, scary Skynet tends to distract from the fact that the real dangers of AI and generative AI are right in front of us, you know, in the effect it's going to have on elections and how it's being misused. And I think the danger is if we focus on the big, scary thing that actually isn't probably likely to happen, we're missing the things that already are happening and will get much worse in the next few years. And so that's the stuff we should be worrying about.
Nice. I probably should have started with you and came to a more comfy side of the panel afterwards. So thank you very much. Thank you for those insights. Please join me in thanking the panel.